Okay, here I am in SQL Server Data Tools, and I have the security project open. And this uses a single package called classifyrows.dtsx. In order to change the protection level, I need to have the package selected, so I'll just click here someplace outside of any tasks in the control flow, and go over to Properties, and then I can scroll down to the Security section here. I'll widen this a little bit, if I can get that cursor in just the right place. Alright, so as you can see, the default protection level here is encrypt sensitive with user key. So this is one of those protection level options that is going to use DeepAppy on this local machine in order to encrypt sensitive information. The issue with that is that if I were to move this package to another server, the user key is not going to be available there, and so the sensitive information is not going to be available. So it can work in a lot of scenarios. It's a very strong set of encryption. It lets Windows manage the encryption keys for you, but it does have some deployment issues. Okay, but for the sake of this demo, I'm going to select Don't Save Sensitive. So it's just going to exclude any sensitive information from the file. Now, this package doesn't have a lot of sensitive information. The only potentially sensitive thing is the connection string for this connection manager here to the AdventureWorks 2012 database. But as you can see, I'm using Windows Authentication, the local server name, database name, so certainly some information that I wouldn't want an attacker to get hold of, but it's not username password class of sensitive information. Okay. Alright, so again, over here back in Properties, for the package, not the connection. There we go. Okay, so the protection level is Don't Save Sensitive. And I'll go ahead and save that file. And that applies any changes that are necessary to the DTSX file that's stored in the file system. And again, it's a file in the file system because I'm in SQL Server Data Tools. I haven't deployed this anywhere. I'm not working with the package deployed to SQL Server yet. Okay, now I'm going to come over here to Solution Explorer, right-click on Classify Rows, and select View Code. And that opens up the file as XML. And this has all of the definitions of the file. But as you can see, there's a bit of a problem. Has nothing to do with the package as such. It has to do with the XML and Visual Studio. I have Visual Studio's color theme set to dark. It's one of the default color themes for Visual Studio. Happen to like it, as a lot of developers do. The dark background just makes it easier in general to see text and do things in Visual Studio. But as you can see, or maybe you can't see, there's some pretty poor contrast here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the theme to light to see it better. So I'll come up here to Tools Options, and then go Environment General and change the color theme from dark to light and click on OK. And after a moment, that's better anyway. Another option there, in fact, is Tools, Options, and Blue. These are all the ones that are built into Visual Studio 2013. So, but all that does is it just changes essentially the borders. Okay, so use whichever one you want. Just be aware that if you are using the dark theme, that's why you can't see the XML very well. Okay, poor choices of formatting on Microsoft's part. Okay, so if you explore the code, you'll find that most everything is in plain text. There are some binary representations of things, but those are essentially internal parts of the package. It's just the way that integration services saves some tasks and so forth. So as you can see, it's mostly all text. In fact, it's kind of interesting to explore everything that's in this file. It really shows you how integration services implements a lot of things. So I'll scroll through the whole thing really quickly. You just see there's a whole lot of text. Okay, so there's some of that binary stuff. And this is just some sort of internal representation of data used by different controls. All right. So I'm going to go back up to the top here. And here's the connection string for that connection manager. So as you can see, it's all in plain text, and it is saved as part of the package because Integration Services doesn't consider a connection string like this to be sensitive information, particularly because it doesn't include a username and password. It's using integrated security. Okay, so connection string isn't encrypted because nothing is encrypted using this protection level. And all of the data is in the file because there is no sensitive data. Okay, so good so far. Now what I'm going to do is come over here to Solution Explorer. I'm going to copy this package and right-click here and paste. And that creates a copy of classified rows. So I'm going to change the name here to Encrypted Package. All right, so we have a duplicate package, and it opens up within the designer. So I'll select the package, go over to Properties, scroll down to Security, and I'm going to change the protection level for this package, and I'm going to change it to Encrypt All with Password. Okay, and I'll go ahead and save the change, and I get this warning dialog box. Failed to apply package protection with error code blah blah blah. The protection level of the package requires a password, but package password property is empty. And this error occurs when saving to XML. Okay, so I selected a package protection option. Oh, and it tells me that it can't complete the operation. I selected a package protection option. I tried to save it, but it couldn't implement it because the changes are made to the package file when you save the file. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to provide a package password. And I can type it in directly or open up this little dialog box so I can do a new password and confirm it. All right, so I'll type in a password. I won't make it overly complex. Okay, they match. I can click on OK, and now I have a package password. Notice that it doesn't display anything there, not even asterisks. So it's kind of hard to tell whether or not I've saved a password, but if I open up a package that's saved to disk and it has any of the options, any of the protection levels that require a password, then there's a password. Okay, so now I come back over here and I save the package and it successfully saves. Okay, so next thing I want to do, I'm going to come over here to Windows Explorer. Here's that encrypted package. So I've created this package, and let's say that I want to execute it. So I'll double click on it, and that opens up the Execute Package utility. And I'll click on the Execute button, and it prompts me for a password. Okay, so that's the big difference. In order to do anything with this package, you need to have the password. All right, so I'm just going to type in some random characters that isn't the password. Click on OK. Password you've entered is incorrect. It's encrypted with a password. Please provide the password. If I provide the correct password, I can click on OK, and it'll execute the package. And all is well in the world. All right, so I'll close that and return to SQL Server Data Tools. All right, so let's look at the code for this package. All right, I'll do a Control-KD, and notice that doesn't do anything. Well, it's because this is some pretty radically different XML than we looked at for the original unencrypted version of the package. So I'm going to start scrolling to the right a bit. And you can see that, well, to start out, we have the XML. It's encrypted data, and it's got an encrypted data element that specifies the type, as well as some salt, some random salt to change the encryption, and then an initialization vector. And I can scroll to the right, and there's some information about the encryption algorithm. And then, let me back up just a little bit here. Here's the cipher value for the package. All right, so this is the encrypted text of the package. So I can scroll, and I can scroll, and I can scroll, and I can scroll, and I can scroll faster and faster and faster, and keep scrolling. And notice that the thumb, which is pretty faint, is still just right there. Okay, so I'm going to just select a location in here and press the End button. And so finally I'm at the end, and I can see that I'm at column 130,180. Okay, so I'm going to, since Control KD didn't work, I'm going to manually format this a little bit better. So there's all the encrypted stuff. There's another element with the encryption method. And then there's cipher data and the cipher value. And now I'll press End again. So there's the end of cipher value and cipher data and encrypted data. All right, I'm not quite sure why formatting the XML doesn't work for this, because there are distinct elements. It's not like they're all attributes or anything, but it is what it is. All right, so here's the long section of ciphertext. So now, as you can see, by selecting a different protection level, the package is very robustly protected with strong encryption, and I need that password in order to decrypt the entire package, not just the sensitive information, because I selected Encrypt All with password.